Welcome back to our newest edition of Seller's Corner, your go-to source for all things reselling. I'm Perry, content creator, Vendoo, and part-time reseller. And today we are going to talk about my honest reseller truth in 2023. But first, let me invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we upload videos every Friday, and they're all related to scaling your reselling business, vendor product tips, and community updates. Everybody has their own definition of what a successful reseller is. But there are two facts that nobody can argue to me about, and that is number one, reselling is all about volume. The more items you have for sale, the more chance you make a sale. Number two, reselling is a long game. There is no overnight success. Just like in any business, it takes time. It takes years to build, or months if you have a huge capital. Obviously, the more money you have to invest in inventory, the quicker you can to build your store. Now, how quickly you can sell it and how much profit you make is all up to your operation system. If you are not careful with your time, such as the time you spend sourcing, the time you spend listing, the time you spend on customer service, the time you spend packing and shipping the item, you might as well get a minimum wage job, because that at least pays you more than reselling. That's why it was crucial for me to find ways to make my sourcing, listing, and shipping as simple, as efficient as possible. Because I do not want to spend 40 hours a week sourcing, listing, and shipping when there are other things in the business that needs my attention. So let's talk about sourcing and listing, because those are the two things that requires a lot of time. For me personally, I leverage capital to save time. For sourcing, I buy liquidation pallets either online or in person. Again, this may not work for you if you don't have the space or a huge capital, because liquidation is a gamble, and if you're not ready to take a loss, this is not for you. For listing, I hired a virtual assistant to write my title, description, research the prices, and delist, relist my items. When I take photos, my setup is not pretty, but it is efficient. I don't do the mannequin anymore because that requires time versus doing flat lay. I only remove the background for one photo, which is the cover photo. And with Vendoo's new feature with Photo Room, I do not have to toggle between Photo Room app and Vendoo. And when I take photos using my phone, I upload it directly from Vendoo. Also, I take the photos of the measurements instead of having to type it out. So after I upload the photos, the virtual assistant does her job that night, and in the morning, all I have to do is hit submit. When it's time to delist, relist still inventory, the virtual assistant knows to change the prices to 10, 20, 50% off the asking price. Those still inventory goes into my liquidation phase. Items that went through the liquidation phase will eventually end up in the donation pile, so I can get a tax write-off. This is not financial advice. Or I have contacts that are willing to buy my items in bulk. The whole point of liquidation is not to make a profit, it's just to get rid of it. Then I repeat the process. Again, keep the operation as simple as possible. Another thing I want to talk to you about is customer service and returns. We resellers, and I'm also guilty of this, is that we get emotional when customers ask us dumb questions or when we get returns. I've learned to answer the questions politely and move on. And actually move on, not think about it and let a stranger rent free in my mind. There is no way to stop people from scamming you or returning the item to you. You can't control people's actions, but you can control yours. So it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Now, here's the mindset shift that I had to go through. I had to zoom out and look at my profit per month instead of per item. I should be making a big enough profit that one return item, two return item is not a big deal. And the last thing I want to talk to you about is retention and getting repeat customers. The buyers in Poshmark, eBay, Mercari, those are not your customers. They're Poshmark, eBay, or Mercari's customers. But the two main factors to having repeat customers are, number one, your shipping speed and how quickly you respond to their message if they ever, send you a message. And number two, if you sell in specific niche. For example, if you sell men, women, kids clothing, or just shoes or makeup, it will be a lot easier for them to remember you versus if you sell everything. And that's what I have for you today. Again, thank you for watching this edition of Seller's Corner, your go-to source for all things reselling. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.